Hi, I'm Dave Worzel, and you're watching PHTV4 Spotlight. Today's Spotlight is on the new principal recently hired for Shepard High School in Palos Heights here, Dr. Tim Baker. Tim, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
No, this is exciting too. So congratulations on the new hire, the new position, but you've been in education for a while. You've been at Shepard for a while too. Can you talk about your background and career in education?
Yeah, so this will start my 23rd year in education.
Wow.
So I began my career as a science teacher and a coach at Richards High School. I coached basketball and track. And then in 2012, I went over to Eisenhower High School as the athletic director. I did that for 3 years, and then I moved to assistant principal for discipline, attendance, and activities. I did that for 7 years, and then I was hired at Shepard High School 2 years ago as the associate principal, and then now taking over as principal this year.
That's a lot of hats. I mean, you've got experience in a lot of areas. I would think they're going to help you in your role as principal. I mean, how do you see that connection, or in what ways it can help you?
Yeah, definitely. This helps out a lot, especially with the assistant principals that we have, to be able to be a resource for them and kind of understanding how all the different aspects of the school work is extremely beneficial moving into this new position.
I would think being able to connect to teachers or coaches, because you've had all those experiences and the other administrative positions, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Working with activities at Eisenhower was great. We had to recently hire a brand new choir director and band director, so having experience working with them was outstanding. And then recently hired, a new head basketball coach and a few other positions. So having some experience in those worlds definitely helped out.
As I say, it sounds like you've hit the ground running here. Like a lot has been going on already, and I know there's some project work going on at Shepard, and we can get to that later. Has this been a career goal for you? Is this, did you ever have a vision that someday you wanted to be a principal at a high school, and how that path got you here?
Yeah, I think it was kind of always in the back of my head. I always told myself I'd never take a job I couldn't see myself doing until retirement because I didn't want to get burnt out or bored. But, as a teacher, one of my former principals came to me one time and said, you may be a good administrator. Have you ever thought about it? And I said, well, I thought about it, but hadn't really pursued it. So, went and got a master's in my Type 75, and about, 8 years later, decided to jump into that world. But,
so that was
been great.
That was a seed getting planted then.
Yes, yep, definitely.
Okay. How about, so I'm imagining, I think about mission statements and goals, and every year teachers, kind of establishing what they wanted. How about for an administrator, for you as a first-year principal heading into this? Do you have certain goals that you want to accomplish as you move into this position?
Yeah, I do. So our district's values now are belong, engage, and achieve. So I really want to make sure that those values are living at Shepard High School, and they're kind of symbiotic. That if you feel like you belong, you're going to be more likely to engage and achieve. And vice versa. So those are the three main core values that we're looking to push forward. But as far as goals go, we're really looking closely at a couple of things. So one is our graduation rate and our attendance rate. Going back to both of those things, again, kind of relate to each other. If the kids aren't there, we can't teach them. If they're not learning, they're likely not to graduate. So we're looking at our chronic truancy rate, our chronic absenteeism. We're looking at our graduation rate, and leading into that graduation rate, we're looking at what the state is calling ninth grade on track. So taking a look at students as they come into freshman year, if they graduate or if they end their freshman year on track, they're 4 times as likely to graduate on time. And that's defined mostly as having 5 credits at the end of your freshman year and not having or only having at least 1 F in a core subject area. So those are some of the goals and data that we're looking at going into this year.
I say those are pretty significant indicators too. I mean, easy to point to, right? Recognize. So maybe that was leading into the next question. Specific challenges you see going into this year. It sounds like you've touched on it. Many other challenges you see starting this first year.
Yeah, so there's going to be challenges of it. You don't know what you don't know. So I'm sure as things pop up, I'm going to be relying on a lot of my mentors. I'm very fortunate to have a lot of those over at our central office. Dr. Pollock, who's leaving the principal's role, right now too. She's been a great mentor for me, so be happy to lean on her for some advice. And then we've got some construction projects and some new administrators coming in. So those challenges will all kind of present themselves slowly as the year goes on.
As I say, there's always the unknowns, and then in your case, you do have a lot going on, especially with the projects. And it's got to be great to have Dr. Pollock as a resource still in the district. Are you ready for a lightning round here?
Absolutely.
Can we get to know you a little bit?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go off the education things. Some of these are education related, some are not. You started to answer this. Maybe you're going to name the person. Who was an inspiration for you to go in education?
So my parents were my biggest inspiration. My mother was a second grade teacher. My dad was a chief school business officer, so he worked in the finance department for schools. My dad was on the school board for 12 years, so we had an educational household, I guess you could say. So they were probably my biggest inspiration.
Obviously great role models to inspire you to head down this path. How about when you were a student, did you have a favorite teacher or favorite subject?
Favorite subject was science.
Science,
You know, I
okay.
was a science teacher. As you know, my favorite teacher was Coach Owens. He was also my basketball coach. He was an English teacher that I had, and he was the perfect mix of fun, but firm. So you knew that you couldn't mess around in his class, or you'd miss out on the fun.
Yeah, that's great that you can point to somebody like that, and obviously influenced you, not just education, but it sounds like basketball and as well, yes?
Yes. Went on to coach basketball. He was a big inspiration in that as well.
Okay, how about best movie related to education?
So without a doubt, I would say Teen Wolf. Michael J. Fox,
Okay.
coming of age story. Scott Howard, he's an average student.
Basketball.
He's basketball. He's struggling with being average. Then he realizes he's a werewolf. And now he's got all the popularity and athletic success. And at the end, he just kind of realizes that he had it in him all along.
Yeah.
So it's great education.
That's a great message and a fun movie. All right. How about when you look back over your career, whether as an educator or an administrator, do you have a favorite or best moment for yourself?
There was a lot of
Good.
great moments. I would say, oddly enough, when I got the principal's job and they put out the press release and it went out on Facebook and things like that, the coolest thing that happened was if I had 100 comments saying congratulations or well deserved, 90% of those were from former students that I had in class or students that I coached back when I was at Richards High School. So that's when I was in the classroom and doing the work and coaching after school. And the fact that those were the people that came back and said congratulations the most, more than when I was an administrator, just really solidified for me the importance that the teachers have in the classroom and coaches have, after 315, that they're the ones that are making a true impact and difference on our students.
And obviously a great tribute testimony to you as a teacher that those were the people who were like, yes, they're happy for you and you're the guy for that position.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's wonderful. All right, how about, and I know it's at some degree, it's probably part of your career, and I imagine you'll have a chance to do this, so maybe you've thought about it, or I'm going to put it in you right now. Advice you would give to a first-year teacher, somebody's just starting out at Shepard High School or in District 218, and what would you tell them?
Build relationships with your students. Relationships first, that supersedes everything. If you have good relationships with your kids, you can get almost anything done in class. And 20 years later, they may be congratulating you on Facebook one day. The other thing I say is add value. What else are you doing besides teaching your 5 classes? Are you on committees? Are you sponsoring a club? Are you coaching a sport? But where can you add value outside of the 5 classes that you teach?
Great advice. Something looking back at my career, the relationship part is so critical. And then to be involved in those other areas, right? There's more to it than just that classroom. Yes, that's the keystone to the whole thing, but you gotta do more and be involved more, right? Great advice. I hope you give it out several times.
I will, thanks.
All right, how about but graduation? I know the principal speaks of graduation. They kind of put that year out there for them and encapsulate it in some way. What advice might you give to those seniors at that ceremony?
So I tell students all the time, most of you are going to have jobs that you don't even know exist. A lot of students just kind of know what I call Sesame Street jobs, doctor, lawyer, fireman, police officer, et cetera. So most of you are going to do something that you didn't even know is a job right now. So decide on what kind of life you want to have, and then decide on what kind of career you want to pursue. So do you want to be able to travel? Do you want to, how much money do you want to have? Do you want to drive nice cars? Do you want to live in a certain area? Decide on those things first, and then find a career that suits those needs.
Yeah, it is, and I've seen the stats on that. The vast majority of jobs don't even exist when that person's going to go look for that job. Yeah. How about this? Other than, so we'll assume the principal was the dream job. Obviously, it was that seed was planted a while ago. But if you couldn't be principal, what would the other job be? What would you be doing right now instead?
Head coach of the Chicago Bulls.
Wow.
Love basketball, love the Bulls. That would be a great job.
You'd like to be in the United Center and...
yes, be there. I'd like to get some more banners up on the wall, win a few more rings. So that would be the other dream job.
Well, maybe if the principal thing, you need to move on or you decide you need another challenge, I know you won't have free time for it.
Right? I keep making calls. They're not returning.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your new hire.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'm Dave Wurzel. You've been watching PHTV4. Our spotlight has been on Dr. Tim Baker, the new principal at Shepard High School in Palos Heights. Thank you for watching.